This is the match that decides who finishes second in Group E. Not officially, not yet, but both teams know it. Germany is expected to win the group. Curaçao is here for the experience, which means Sunday night in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field, Ivory Coast and Ecuador are effectively playing a knockout game disguised as a group stage opener. Win this and you control your destiny. Lose it and you spend the rest of the tournament chasing points against Germany. Ivory Coast are returning to the World Cup after a 12-year absence. The last time they appeared at a global finals was in 2014 in Brazil, when a defeat to Greece eliminated them in the group stage. They missed Russia in 2018 and Qatar in 2022 entirely. A decade of absence, 3 African Cup of Nations titles in that same period. And now they are back, with one of the most talented squads the Elephants have ever assembled. Ivory Coast have never progressed beyond the World Cup group stage in any of their previous appearances. Every time they have qualified, they have gone home early. This tournament, with the expanded 48-team format giving even third-place teams a realistic route into the knockouts, is their best ever chance to change that record. Their manager is Moisés Caicedo, who took over mid-cycle and guided them to the African Cup of Nations title on home soil in 2024. The attacking threat is expected to come from the flanks, where Amad Diallo, Yan Diomande, Nicolas Pepe, and Simon Adingra are all competing for places. That is a selection headache for Faye, but it is the kind of problem you want to have. The midfield is formidable. Seko Fofana, Ibrahim Sangare, and Franck Kessié have scored 7, 12, and 15 international goals respectively. 3 central midfielders with genuine goal threat. In front of them, the striker position is less certain. With Sebastian Haller left out of the squad, the goal-scoring burden falls on Evan Gesand, who has 4 international goals. That is a thin record for a number 9 at a World Cup. It is the one area of this Ivory Coast squad that carries genuine uncertainty. The only confirmed injury absentee for Ivory Coast is Evan Ndika, who sustained a thigh problem in the Rome Derby last month and is ruled out of the opener. His absence at center-back is a notable loss against a team with Enner Valencia up front. Ivory Coast's predicted lineup is a 4-3-3 with Yahia Fofana in goal, Wilfried Singo, Odilon Kosunu and Ghislain Konan in defense, Kessié, Sangare and Seko Fofana in midfield, and Amad Diallo, Gesand and either Diomande or Adingra across the attack. Ivory Coast beat France in a friendly earlier this month, arriving into this tournament on a 4-match winning streak. The confidence is real. The squad depth is real. But so is Ecuador. Now, Ecuador. And this team is built on a foundation that is almost impossible to score against. Since a 1-0 loss to Brazil, Sebastian Becateca's first game in charge of Latry, Ecuador have gone unbeaten across 19 consecutive matches. During that run, they have kept 13 clean sheets. 13 clean sheets in 19 games. That is the defensive record of a team that is exceptionally difficult to break down. The spine of that defense is built from Europe's elite clubs. Moisés Caicedo anchors the midfield at Chelsea. Piero Hincapié plays at Arsenal. Willian Pacho plays at Paris Saint-Germain, where he became the first Ecuadorian ever to win the Champions League. Pacho and Hincapié as the center-back pairing is one of the best partnerships at this entire tournament. It is the reason Ecuador conceded only 5 goals across 18 qualifying matches, the fewest of any CONMEBOL nation. Up front is where the question marks sit. Ecuador are almost entirely reliant on Enner Valencia for goals. The 36-year-old has scored 50 international goals, a national record, and is going into his 3rd World Cup, seeking to add to his tally of 6 at the tournament. Beyond him, the next highest scorer in the squad has 8 international goals. If Valencia does not score, Ecuador historically struggles to find one elsewhere. Valencia is considered a minor fitness doubt for this match, a significant concern given that he is the only player in the squad with a double-figure international tally. Whether he starts or not is the single most important team news item going into Sunday. The teenage wildcard is Kendry Paez, 19 years old. A Chelsea signing currently on loan at River Plate, he is the most watched teenager in Ecuador's squad. He runs at defenders, threads passes between the lines, and Paez uses him to break down low blocks once Caicedo settles the game. Against an Ivory Coast side that will try to press high and play with intensity, Paez in behind the press could be devastating. Ecuador's predicted lineup is a 3-4-3 with Hernan Galindez in goal, Pacho, Hincapié, and Joel Ordonez as the back three, Pervis, Estupinan, and Yukinari at wingback, Caicedo and Alan Franco in the double pivot, and Valencia, Kendry, Paez, and Gonzalo Plata in attack. The key individual duel in this match is Amad Diallo against Estupinan down the left side of Ecuador's defense. Estupinan is an attacking fullback by trade, which means there is space to be had when he pushes forward, but it also gives Ecuador an outlet on the break when they win the ball back. That corridor of the pitch will decide large portions of this game. These two sides have met only rarely. There is no meaningful head-to-head history to draw on. No psychological advantage. Just two well-organized squads, both desperate for 3 points, going head-to-head in a match that could define their entire tournament. Here's the prediction. Ivory Coast has the more exciting attack. Ecuador has the more reliable defense. That tension between attacking quality and defensive solidity is what makes this game so difficult to call. If Valencia starts and scores, Ecuador win. If Amad Diallo runs through Estupinan repeatedly and creates for Gesund, Ivory Coast win. The cleanest read on this game is that Ecuador's defensive organization is simply at a higher level than what Ivory Coast has faced in their warm-up run. Keeping clean sheets against Ecuador's defensive structure is hard. Scoring against it is harder. The call: Ecuador 1, Ivory Coast 1. A tight draw that leaves both teams in a strong position going into matchday 2, but forces them both to pick up points against Germany and Curaçao to guarantee advancement. If Valencia is fully fit and starts, Ecuador 1, Ivory Coast 0. Ecuador 1, Ivory Coast 1. The real battle for second place in Group E begins here, and neither team blinks first. What is your prediction? Drop it in the comments. And if you want every Group E match previewed before kickoff, subscribe now. Germany and Curaçao have already played. The race for second place starts tonight.